So the question will come up at some point, probably during the election season. Why did the United States nuke the economy for this beer flu? Why did that happen? How did that happen? We have top shelf men and women working on this shit. This is what they do all day. They create models to determine how these things are going to spread around the world. Now, we can't take China's word for it. China, fucking communists, they're lying. They're lying to us. Whatever they say, we cannot take it at all. However, once we get to Italy, Spain, England, Germany, other countries, we have empirical data. We should have known how this thing was going to spread. I mean, all you got to do is take your, rudimentary flu simulation. Just pick your whatever. I mean, guys, ladies, this has been out here for decades. There's nothing quite as interesting to geeks like myself is to figure out why things are doing what they do. Why do we have so many infections in New York City or in New Orleans or in Washington State? Why is that? Why did that happen? And how in the hell did we not see this coming? Now, of course, in the early stages, you don't know what the variables are. There could be this, it could be very, very transmissive, right? You talk to somebody at Starbucks, you get the flu. We don't know. There are variables we do not know. But from history, Spanish flu 1918, flus before that, flus in the interim between then and now, we have the freaking data. We know how this stuff works. I mean, obviously not 100%, but certainly 90%, 85%. We kind of get a gist on how this thing is going to work. And yet, somehow, the people we pay a lot of freaking money to, smart people, all they do is sit all day and they type on their keyboard, and they put variables into a model. I mean, how do you think, for God's sake, the flu vaccine comes out just in time for the flu season? Because these people are employed to figure this shit out. What kind of flu are we going to have? Well, we're expecting this historical data. We got a database, and we're expecting, flu X. Okay. And so the flu vaccine manufacturers go off and they make a bunch of flu X vaccines because that's what the prediction is. Is it always right? No. We don't know all of the variables in the equation. Now, you and me, the hamster, we could sit down and write some equations and we can kind of get close. There were, X number of cases here, and here's the R0 version. R0 is basically how transmissible is this thing, right? But there are other variables. There's a ton. Okay, we think it's going to be a 3, R0 3, but, if people do this and that and such, and thus, if they're not making love, or whatever, the chances of getting that are, 0.08%. We didn't know. Now, at the beginning, you don't, because you don't understand the variables. Okay, is the beer flu somehow different than the other flus? Is it the Well, certainly it probably could be. But you could take the fucking models that we have for other flus with historical data, and you can run your simulation. You could say, okay, 2.3, but and get an idea what the fuck was coming. Now, some people did that, and it seems to me the media concentrated on the worst possible fucking case. Well, in other words, if we make all these things one and we run the simulation, we're all going to die. I mean, there's been talk about exponential, spread, which is accurate in some ways. But if your exponent is wrong, you quickly run out of people in 3 days. So it all depends on the model. And you're telling me that these people, these men and women, very smart, their job is to do this, they didn't fucking know. They didn't approximate what was going to happen, except for the corner cases. Oh, well, 100 million people are going to be, dead and whatever in the United States. It's horrible. And the Trump administration shut down the fucking economy, nuked it, burned it with fire because, millions of people are going to die. Their models were wrong. And thank goodness they were. But what gets in my craw, big time, I do this shit for a living. Not medical modeling, but other modeling that, takes into account a lot of variables. They are to lead us to believe that their models were accurate when they had empirical data that they could run their simulations against in Italy and, England, Spain, probably not China because China's not reliable. We had the fucking data. Are you telling me if you take regular seasonal flu and you run that freaking simulation, you couldn't have come up with a reasonable number? I call bullshit. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but it seems awfully fucking odd to me that the entire country was going to die because of corona, when in fact somewhere someone knew it was bullshit. Why do you think Trump said to the governor of New York, Cuomo, you don't need 40,000 ventilators. You're going to need about 15,000. Do you think Trump saw the simulation models with the empirical data and said, no, this is not going to happen. To the best of our knowledge, you're only going to need this. But the fucking news media is out there God, I can't even fucking watch the news anymore. We're all going to die. No, we're not. This infection is no worse than any other fucking flu. Now, I know that's a controversial opinion. Where's your tinfoil hat? This is bad. There are people dying, but this is no different than any other typical year with flu. I know the men and women that were doing the modeling. They fucking know this. They've got the results. They've got the data sheets. They've got the freaking Excel files. This is what we're expecting because of this and variables and blah, 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 blah. And we've run it against the Italian situation. And, we come up within, 5% of, what do we expect? But you will never hear that reported. Now, I wonder if there's some, bias in the media to make our president look as bad as fucking possible. I'm just throwing it out there, people. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.